Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out the Film Geek. And today I am wrapping up my week of, well, crap trash cinema. Today I'm going through the final 6 films that are on this box set that I started earlier this week. It's been a long week. Oh boy, guys, I wish I had better news. I wish I could say that there was 6 just unbelievably great, underrated gems on this DVD box set. I wish I had better news, but I don't. These movies are god freaking awful. Look, I wasn't lying when I said the best movie was The Pink Angels. And I don't mean that The Pink Angels is a bad movie. It's a pretty good movie. I really enjoyed The Pink Angels. Everything else on this box set, though, I think is gonna haunt me in my sleep. Alright, as I stated also, this box set consists of nothing but Crown International Picture films. Now, these movies are crap cinema. The only thing that's important in these films is the amount of skin that you get to see. Okay, so the way this list works is that, well, I watched all these movies, I picked 2 movies to be my spotlight films, and then the other 6 movies I'm gonna rate today. And the order they're gonna go is from best to worst. So starting off the best of the worst movies I've seen in the last 10 years, number 6 on the list is the Pom Pom Girls from 1976. And the Pom Pom Girls tells the story of, well, this group of cheerleaders and a couple of football players who get into some shenanigans with an opposing team and wackiness ensues. Now look, this movie is just a beat for beat teen sex comedy. You have a football team, you have the cheerleaders, there's an opposing team, someone plays a prank, the other team goes, I'm not gonna take that, and wackiness ensues. That's just the best way to put it. That's the theme for pretty much every teen sex comedy out there. Just replace football team antics with anything else. The nerds on the chess team get their revenge. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a teen sex comedy. It's total crap. So yeah, the movie's basically just a bunch of pranks strung together. And, you know, one side does this, the other side does that, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you something though, where this movie excels is the fact that our heroes, the Pom Pom Girls, man, I tell you what, they got a brass set because they straight up steal the opposing team's fire truck. That's right, they go to the other team's town and they steal a fire truck and they just drive it around town and people are just shaking their heads like, oh, those adorable little teenagers getting into wackiness again. Most of this movie is also just a long freaking montage. Just like, here's our guys on motorcycles, here's the kids doing this, here's the kids doing that. It just comes off as a really, really, really shitty music video. So what's number 5 in this giant pile of crap? Well, that's Van Nuys Boulevard from 1979. Van Nuys Boulevard tells the story of a small town boy that happens to see this thing on the news about all the cool racing that's going on the boulevard and cruising and such in Van Nuys, California. So he packs up his things, well, kinda. He pretty much just jumps in his souped up van and he tears off to enjoy the world of drag racing. This movie is basically the predecessor of Fast and Furious, I think, but this movie's really bad. Wait, yeah, this movie is the predecessor of Fast and Furious. So in this movie, we enter into the competitive world of van drag racing. I don't know, I never knew there was van drag racing, but apparently at one point in time, there was van drag racing. I mean, I was only 4 in 1979, so how would I have known what was going on in the world of street racing? So yeah, this is just another beat per beat teen sex comedy, just like the one before and just like the one I'm gonna talk about next. Malibu Beach was released in 1979 and it tells the story of absolutely nothing. Yeah, that's true. I mean, seriously, there's no plot to this movie. There is no story. It's just a series of events. That's all it is. They're not even a series of events. It's like a sketch comedy show that really sucks. Nothing really connects to each other. The only thing is, there's the beach. There's just all these different characters who hang out at this beach and things happen day to day. That's it. And just so Crown International gets their TNA. This is one of the things about the movie that kills me. There is a dog that's only purpose throughout the entire movie is just to steal bikini tops. Seriously. That's all this dog does. Someone trained this dog to steal bikini tops, but we never see who this owner is. Then it just basically leads you to believe that the dog is just stealing the bikini tops for his own personal collection. Like the dog just walks over to a pile of them, and then later it's implied that he might be owned by one of the characters, but there was never a connection between the dog and this character until the very end of the movie. I am very confused about this dog. Yeah, so basically this is a beach movie that went horribly wrong. It has a lot of beach movie tropes. You have the good girl lifeguard who's, being wooed by a beau. You have the goofball cops. Again, the musclehead. He's not really the bad guy. It's weird. He just has it out for, I guess you would say, our hero. He's not really the bad guy, though. He just doesn't like the main character much, and he's always wanting to get in a fight with him. And it erupts into like a swim competition of all things. You probably want to know what number 3 is. 1969's The Babysitter. Now, if you watched my Weekend with the Babysitter video, you already have a little bit of background on this movie already. This movie is one of the creepiest freaking things. So yeah, just like in the other Babysitter movie, Weekend with the Babysitter, there's this weird subplot. Well, in this one, the weird subplot is that the husband is being blackmailed because of the affair. You see, he's a DA, and there's a big case coming up with these bikers, and the bikers find out about the affair that he's having with the babysitter, so they start blackmailing him to try to get one of the bikers out of jail. So anyways, if you want to watch some old man sick fantasy film, then I guess check out The Babysitter. Otherwise, just let this one fade to obscurity. Coming in at number 2 and almost to the tippy top of Mount Crap is Single Room Furnished. Single Room Furnished was released in 1966, and what makes this film special is it's starring the 50s and 60s blonde bombshell Jayne Mansfield. Now, okay, I know this movie is on number 2 on the list, and that's because of a cardinal sin, and I'm gonna get to that. So anyways, Jayne's performance is not bad. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Jayne Mansfield's performance in this film is spot on. It's fine. It's a good dramatic performance. The movie itself is very complicated, and that's one of the things that she liked about it. It was very different from what she normally did. Normally, she was just a pretty face that showed up on screen, did some goofy stuff and blah blah blah. But in this one, she really got to show off her acting chops because her character went through so many different drastic changes. The story of this is a woman who goes through 3 different stages in her life, and she changes her name and reinvents herself, and the movie itself is actually kind of unique, and I know I'm buttering it up for it being number 2 on this list. But anyways, it is kind of unique. It is a very unique film for its time, because it takes on a very unique subject matter of a single woman. She starts off as a teenage woman who is an early bride, and her husband ends up leaving her. She then is a single mom waitress, and then it ends with her becoming a prostitute. So yeah, it was a really good part, and Jayne did a very good job in this movie. The problem is that this movie is god-awful boring. It is almost impossible to get through this film. I watched this movie in the middle of the day, and I found myself almost nodding off several times. The story moves at such an incredibly slow pace, and at 93 minutes, it feels like an eternity. This movie just drones on and on and on. And like I said, it's kind of a unique film because it's not her telling the story. The story's actually told by different residents at the apartment building she lives in. So these people in this apartment building are telling the story of this woman that lived there, and it's just kind of neat. That portion of it's kind of neat. But because, as I said, and I've said before, the biggest and most cardinal sin a movie can do is be boring. And this movie is just god-awful boring. It's not as boring as number 1, but my God, it is boring. So what is number 1 and the worst film? The tippy top of Mount Crap, if you will? Well, that's 1970's Blood Mania. All right, now out the gate, I thought I was gonna like this movie. With a name like Blood Mania, I thought I was in for some awesome 1970s schlock horror. And all I got was boredom and no horror. So the story is pretty simple. A woman who's taking care of her dying father decides to try to help things along a little bit so he dies a little bit faster so she can get her hands on that sweet, sweet inheritance. And of course, there's a boyfriend involved in all of this. He needs money to pay debts, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember anything that happens in the end, but the thing that's important here is that the film is named Blood Mania, and there is neither any blood, and there is definitely no mania. Okay, well maybe I'm the one with the mania, but this movie definitely has no mania. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this film. I just don't. It doesn't make sense. Things just seem kind of slapped together. The story itself is just so incredibly basic. It could be wrapped up in like 30 minutes, and it's just boring. God, awful. Boring. And it tantalizes you with this idea that you're gonna watch this like early slasher-esque film, and you're not. You're just watching this really terrible wannabe crime thriller that doesn't do anything to thrill you. So guys, if there's one thing that I took away from this week of watching god-awful movies is nothing. I learned nothing really, except I found Pink Angels, and Pink Angels was fantastic. I dug that movie, I loved it, and honestly, I spent all of $3 on this at the antique mall. So $3, I got something as awesome as Pink Angels. So I'm good, man. I'm good. I feel all right about this. And I was thinking of doing this as an ongoing thing because I really enjoy getting my hands on these movie collections. And 9 times out of 10, I get them really cheap, and I only buy them for 1 or 2 movies that are in the collection. So it might be like a horror collection of 20 different movies, but I only bought it because it has Prom Night 1 and 2. But after watching these god-awful 6 movies, I don't think I'm gonna do that now. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of another Film Geek video. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, go ahead and give me a subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, and maybe a thumbs up if you liked the video. Another thing you could do, folks, is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.